Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. There we go. Finally got it to start giving me some volume there. Welcome in, everybody, to Fourth and a Mile, presented by Planet Adam. I am your host. I am the Pharaoh of Planet Adam, or God King, if you will. I am Adam Fernandez, and we've got a lot to discuss tonight, up to and including finally talking about y'all Spurs. I am not a big Spurs fan. I've let that be known quite a few times, but the drama there, or the drama here in San Antonio, is enough to make me want to talk about it tonight. Women's hockey, some baseball news, and then of course I'm going to do my top 5 first basemen that I would start an expansion franchise with if I were the GM of an expansion franchise. But first, we're going to go ahead and start talking about the Carolina Panthers. I told y'all back in December that the owner, Jerry Richardson of the Panthers, is in the midst of a lot of allegations of workplace misconduct. This is an almost 80-year-old guy who, according to allegations, was asking women for foot massages, which is disgusting. Telling young ladies that they look great in those jeans, which is disgusting. Buckling their seatbelt so he can get a easy cop of the boobs, which is disgusting from an old man. But yes, all those allegations, and he decided that that's not the world he wants to live in anymore, where he's not allowed to do that kind of stuff. So he decided to go ahead and put his franchise, the Carolina Panthers, up for sale. And today, thank you for the share, Dominic. Awesome. Love you, girl. So today a report came out about the estimate of the Carolina Panthers. So you guys crack open your piggy banks because they're going up for sale for only $2.8 billion. Oh, man, if I had even $2.8, I'd be a happy camper right now. But $2.8 billion is how much you can buy the Carolina Panthers for, if you in fact want them. Again, these allegations, these actually sound legit. There are some other times where I've criticized the person making the allegations, such as the Enzo Amore situation, but these ones sound 100% legit. And this guy, like I said, is an 80-year-old guy, a gajillionaire who is just disgusting, because I am sure that there is no girl in his office, say in their 20s, that wants to be felt up by an old guy, that wants to give an old guy a foot massage, or wants to be told by an old guy that she looks good in them jeans. But, the team has conducted they are conducting an internal investigation fronted by one of the minority owners, but the entire ownership of the organization is up for sale for $2.8 billion. So, again, empty out your piggy banks, put it together, see what you guys have. You might be able to get them for $2.8 billion. So you might be able to stretch it as low as 2.3, but just to be safe, I would make sure you get that extra $5 billion, or that extra $0.5 billion in there, which is what, $500 million. So just to be safe, I would go ahead and try to make sure you have that in hand as well before purchasing the Panthers. But yes, they are up for sale for as much as $2.8 billion. So not that much. In other news, college football news, on New Year's Eve, defensive tackle for Marshall University, the Thundering Herd, the basis behind the movie We Are Marshall, if you guys remember that one, where the college football team crashed in a plane crash, or died in a plane crash. The majority of them did. Everyone that was on the plane did. They are an actual real college football team, and their defensive tackle, their sophomore defensive tackle, Larry Aaron, was shot in a New Year's Eve incident in Maryland. According to his mother, he was shot basically covering his girlfriend. Not that she was the target, but just that shots rang out, and he wanted to make sure she was okay, and so he stepped in front of her and took a bullet in his back. And according to the mother, and this is a quote from her, it is in his spine. He has no feeling in his legs. They can't remove it because they're afraid it will hinder him even more to do so. Well, as of today, it's sad to report, but Larry Aaron has passed away due to complications of that gunshot in his spine. So, Marshall is one of the arch rivals, I guess, if you will, of Florida Atlantic, which is my favorite team. But this transcends the rivalry. So my heart is with the members of the University of Marshall football team. My heart is with everybody at Marshall University. So may he rest in peace. And I hate hearing stuff like this happen. It's pretty much the same with that Colts linebacker that was killed a few weeks ago by a drunk driver. So that's the kind of stuff that we need to stop from happening, guys. But yes, Larry Aaron III, dead at 19 due to complications from gunshot wound to his back. So let's try to spice it up a little bit now, I guess. U.S. women's hockey. This was actually a great game. I didn't watch the beginning of it. I tried my hardest not to watch the Olympics, I think. The Winter Olympics at least. The Winter Olympics are the most boring sporting event in the world every 4 years, in my opinion. But I've said that I do watch hockey. That's probably the one thing that I get out of the Winter Olympics. That's one of the sports I will watch. Unless I just want to see those skiers crash, because I do like that, and bobsledders and losers crash as well. But I do like to watch Olympic hockey. And a big reason for that is the Miracle on Ice, which happened 38 years ago, I guess today. But early this morning over there in South Korea, which is, I guess, tonight for them because they're so damn far away from us. The U.S. women upset the Canadian women, who the Canada team was favored to win the gold medal. And so in the gold medal game, they went into overtime, tied 2-2. Nothing was resolved in overtime. They went into a shootout. Nothing was resolved in the first shootout, so they went to sudden death shootout. And in that shootout, the U.S. women were able to pull it out. They win the game, I guess, effectively 2-2, but they won it via shootout. The goalie for the United States, a young lady named Maddie Rooney, is now being given the name Secretary of Defense. So this is the 38th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice, and yet there's U.S. hockey pulling off another Miracle on Ice, this time in the form of the women's team. So congratulations to the U.S. women's hockey team. You guys are awesome. The Canadian team, when receiving their silver medals, I saw at least one of their players, I think it was actually more than that, received the medal and then immediately took it off from around their necks. I don't think that they're protesting it or anything like that, like the men's basketball team did back in 1972, I believe, when they were awarded the silver medal because they think that they actually won the game and the refs sided with the Russian team. I don't think that that's the case here with the Canadian team. I just think that they don't feel that they're the second best team in the world. I think they think they're the best team in the world. But in a results-based system, which is what sports is, no, the best team in the world right now is the U.S. women's hockey team. So congratulations to the U.S. women's hockey team. You guys deserve it. It was a great game. If you guys didn't watch it, let's see who else. Oh, we got my buddy Dick Rose, also known as Greg, watching. If you guys didn't watch the game, then you missed out on a great hockey game. I know hockey's not exactly a big thing here in San Antonio, even though we have the Rampage. But how many people go to the Rampage games that actually know hockey? So hockey's not that big of a sport here in San Antonio, I know. But what is a big sport here in San Antonio is basketball, especially the Spurs. We all love the Spurs, right? Um, so yesterday, Greg Popovich, Pop, uh, is quoted as saying he would be surprised if Kawhi comes back at any time this year. Kawhi has played 9 games this year due to an injury that the Spurs team doctors have always cleared him on. They have they're basically dumbfounded on this one. I don't know if it's necessarily that they're saying that there's no injury there or that he can play through it, but he's played 9 games and that's it. So he's been cleared again as of today, but Kawhi is opting to sit out. So I'm not sure if he's gonna continue to sit out or if he's gonna eventually come around and try to play. If it reaches that much further closer to the playoffs, my guess is that Pop won't even put him in the game, simply because that would be way too much rust to put on someone trying while your team is trying to make a playoff run. Now, right now, there's only, I believe I saw the standings. There was only 3 games separating the Spurs, who sit at number 3, and the 8th seed in the West. So it's getting down to the wire, and it's still very, very, very close. So maybe in a case of desperation, he might go ahead and put Kawhi back in if Kawhi opts to play. There's some speculation by someone from Deadspin saying that he's just looking to save himself for next year, which would be his contract year. Oh man, and I did not download that picture. I was gonna put the picture up of a quote that I found. Oh hey, thanks for all the likes there, Carl. Let me see if I can find it here on my phone then real fast, because I was just looking at it. And yes, this is from Adrian. I'm thinking his name is Adrian Wojnarowski. I'm not a big basketball fan, so I don't know these reporters' names that well either. But he's saying, and I quote, "The injury, rehabilitation, and timetable for a return has complicated the Spurs and Leonard's relationship." This was actually about a month ago, by the way, causing tension and fraying the fabric of what was once a strong relationship. League sources told ESPN. The uncertainty surrounding this season and Leonard's future, which could include free agency in the summer of 2019, has inspired a palpable stress around the organization, league sources said. So the league is even saying, according to, no, we're not underdog anymore there, Carl. We're not underdog. We are now fourth and a mile. I did away with underdog because I'm putting these shows on YouTube now, and there already is a podcast called Underdog Sports. So instead of fighting over the name, I just decided to go ahead and change it to something that's not already taken so that I don't get demonetized by YouTube. So, anyways, so this has been going on pretty much all year long, where Kawhi hasn't played because of this, for lack of a better term, phantom injury. Because, I mean, team doctors have said, no, he can play with it. There's no reason why he can't play. They've said that they're dumbfounded as to what's wrong with him. He's gone for second opinion after second opinion, and as far as I know, none of the second opinions have found anything wrong with him either. So I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with him. I'm saying that it's just fishy that not a single doctor can find something wrong with him, and yet he's still not wanting to play. But he's got his contract year coming up next year, and so I'm guessing he's going to be playing all year next year just so he can get a big contract, which is very weird considering that the team that would be able to spend the most money on him is the Spurs. So after this year, though, I don't think the Spurs would be willing to spend that much money on him if he's going to pull something like this, if in fact it is what I'm saying it is and it's a phantom. Again, I don't know that for a fact, but that's how it sounds to me. So, I mean, if there's anybody with any more insider information on that, let me know. But everything I've read, that's pretty much That sums up the situation right now, and it's caused a lot of stress in the Spurs organization, which is weird because and it's not that I don't like the Spurs, it's that I just don't like the Spurs fans. Yes, I said that here in San Antonio, live on the air. I don't have a problem saying it. Um, but I can tell you that 9 times out of 10, the Spurs are kind of like the Cardinals are in baseball, where players love to come here to play for Popovich and win and be taken care of by the organization, much like baseball players are taken care of in St. Louis. That being said, there's always room for, I guess, that one. I don't want to call him a bad apple, but the one that just, I guess, kind of rebels against it. For the Cardinals, it was Scott Rowland back in 2007 or 2008. So that will happen from time to time. But yeah, I mean, it just, to me, that's kind of what it sounds like. I just saw my hand right there and it looked like I was flipping you guys off. Trust me, I wasn't flipping you off. That was my hand. I'm holding my pen. So I was not flipping anybody off. I swear to God. Well, I might have been. And speaking of drama, the drama that is the Tampa Bay Rays seems to continue here. So Corey Dickerson was DFA'd on Monday, following a trade, or no, on Sunday, I believe, following a trade in which that was a Zuckerberg flick off. Yes, it was. Zuckerberg! Anyways, so after acquiring C.J. Cron in a trade with the Angels on Sunday, they DFA'd Corey Dickerson, meaning designated for assignment, which means he got placed on waivers. Now, what that is basically that any team can come in, claim him, and they would have to arrange a trade. Is basically what it is, but it doesn't have to be a fair trade or anything like that. It's just, hey, okay, just to make the compensation, we're going to go ahead and give you so-and-so. And so for the Pittsburgh Pirates, who picked up Corey Dickerson, they gave the Rays Daniel Hudson and a prospect named Tristan Gray. Dickerson last year was a great year for him. Well, the first half was great. The second year, he started tampering off just a little bit. But he's a 28-year-old, so he's still got a lot of years in him. He hit 282, had 27 home runs. So he's definitely one of the Rays' offensive sources. He also was costing them about, if I remember right, about $5.5 million. So that's not a lot of money in consideration of what Major League Baseball players get paid. Daniel Hudson is a relief pitcher who in 61 and 2/3 innings pitched went 2-7 with a 1.46 WHIP. I thought I put his ZRA down there too, but I guess I didn't. But his ZRA was up in the fours. So he's a, I guess, veteran presence at 30 years old, but I don't expect him to be. He's definitely not going to be an ace reliever. And he never was. He never will be. But at least they did get some veteran presence in the bullpen, so that might help them out. This is a team that's basically trying to get rid of all the money that they have in their players, just so they can afford the new stadium, so they can present it to the city of Tampa and Major League Baseball. So the site's already been determined, and the people that own this site have agreed to sell it to them. But the actual stadium is going to cost a lot of money, and you've got to try to get some of the financing by the city, as is the case with the AT&T Center. The city basically funded, I believe they funded the entire arena. But typically what teams do is they try to get the city to fund the majority of it, and then they'll pay the rest. And so that's what the Rays are trying to do, is save up the money so that they can go ahead and get that new stadium. And I don't blame them for that. I also don't blame them because right now they're not in a position to compete, so why not go ahead and try to get prospects in there to compete when you get your new stadium. So that's where they're at right now, and so that's another offensive bat out of the way for the Rays. Again, they do pick up Daniel Hudson and Tristan Gray, though. So, all right. So, man, I thought this one would last a lot longer than what it has. I was watching MLB Network earlier today, and they brought on Rich Eisen, who, well, they didn't bring him on. He wasn't on the MLB Network, but they were showing segments of his show on the NFL Network and on radio, where he was talking about it's been kicked around by some of the executives in the Major League Baseball office that they are considering a new concept, which is in the ninth inning, you get a bat whoever you want. You don't have to go by the batting order. It's something that they've been tangling with. I think what's going to end up happening is the MLBPA, if this ever gets brought up as an actual proposal, the MLBPA would probably go along with it. I don't like the idea. I think that baseball is an orderly game, and so you're going to take the ninth inning and get it all out of order. Then what happens come the 10th inning if neither team scores, or if they score the same amount and they're tied, and what's going to happen at that point? Do you still do that, and so it'll be the same three batters as the ninth inning, and if it goes on to the 11th, it'll be the same thing. That kind of, in my opinion, gets out of control. Right now, it's just being kicked around, so they haven't. They keep changing rules in football. Yeah, they do, and yes, and in football as well. And I'm hating the rule changes. I say leave the game alone, no matter which game it is. That's the game that people went to go see. That's the game that people want to go see. That's the game that people have paid to go see. Leave it alone. But there's always room to improve, I guess, and bring in more fans, and baseball's been trying to do that. And the thing is that when you do that, you're defeating the whole purpose of the pace of play rules that were implemented, I think. The way, and I've been saying this, the way to cut down on the length of a baseball game isn't to add more offense, it's to get 3 outs quickly. That's how you do it. That is at the heart of the game. And that's why I'm against the DH. I've always been against the DH. But if you want to shorten the game, implement pitchers sitting for themselves in the American League. Because I'll guarantee you that the American League games lasted a lot longer than the National League games. Because the National League games, the pitchers are hitting for themselves. So, and in the American League game, that's basically when they make their pitching changes. They're making their pitching changes in the middle of innings. So, again, that's adding to the time. So, if you want to cut out pace of play, take away the DH. That's all you have to do. And this is just going to add to the length of a game. So, I don't like the idea. And it's not the game, again, that I grew up with watching. The argument is every other sport, you get to see the big time players, at the end of the game and see if they can pull it off. And I understand that in football and basketball, hockey, soccer, whatever. Yes, you see the big guys out there trying to win it for the team. But in baseball, again, baseball is a lot more orderly of a game. That's why it's called a batting order. You need to leave that alone. Stop it right now. Leave it alone. And they were making the argument that that closers would earn the save, and I'm like, yes, but you know what? Closers earn the save no matter what. So you're wanting to cut down on people trying to go for records. You're trying to make Mariano Rivera's record untouchable. Come on, and when all you're really doing is you're making every other record that much more attainable. So. Every offensive record, at least. So, anyway, I'm against that rule as well. Again, it's just being kicked around. It's not anything really being taken serious right now. So, hopefully they'll stay away from it, and hopefully I'll never have to hear about it again. But if they bring it up as a possible rule change for next year, like they're still talking about the pitching clock and the runners on second come extra innings, then I'll let y'all know, and I will solely send a petition to Rob Manfred. If I can get other people to sign it, awesome. But I will definitely do that because he is ruining the game that I grew up loving. So, all right. Speaking of the game I love, let's get into the first baseman. This is something I started on Tuesday. I took the night off last night just for personal reasons. But what I started doing on Tuesday was if I were the GM of an expansion team, who would be my top 5 players at specific positions that I would want on my team? And the first one, it was the first baseman. I'm sorry, the catchers. Tonight is going to be first baseman. So we're going to start off at number 5 and then go from there. Okay, number 5. The number 5 first baseman that I would go for, and again, my idea of being a GM for an expansion team, or just being a GM for any team right now that's not a very good team, is to bring in young guys who can be there for a long time. Don't worry about winning right now, because guess what? You're not going to win right now. But 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, when you're trying to win, these are going to be the guys that will still be there to compete. That's my theory. And so that's why I'm bringing them up. So number 5 is Matt Olson, the first baseman for the Oakland A's. Now this one's a little bit risky here because he's only been in 59 games so far as a Major League ball player. But in those 59 games with the A's, he hit .259, 24 home runs, had 45 RBI, and he's only 23 years old. I think that could possibly be a great pickup for any expansion team because of his age and what he was able to do that first year. So this will be his second year. We'll see how much better he looks this year. He might not look better at all, but that's why it's a risk with him. So, which brings me to number 4, and you're going to be a little shocked when you see this, but trust me. Ryan Healy. Although it looks like he still plays for the A's because he's in an A's uniform there, he is actually now the first baseman for the Seattle Mariners. Did my show just cut off, or did my Facebook just act stupid? Let me see. Let me make sure I'm still live here. Okay, I am still live. Okay, good. It's just my phone sucks. So, anyways, yes, Ryan Healy, who is now a Seattle Mariner. The A's traded him to Seattle on November 15th. He is going to be, I think, a stud first baseman as well. In his first season, he's 26 years old. Actually, I believe this was his second season last year. He hit .271, 25 home runs, 78 RBI. He's only 26 years old, so in 10 years he'll be 36. So at that point, he should still be productive as a first baseman. Probably not as great as he will be, say, about 30 years old. But oh hey, we got Desiree Folks coming on in here. What's happening? Anyway, so yes, 26 years old, with 25 home runs last year. Mike, he's probably got, because Oakland Coliseum is a huge stadium. Over there in Safeco, he has the potential to be a 30 home run hitter. So that would be a good guy to start off with there. So that brings me to number 3, the guy that you guys have been hearing me talk about a lot. And that is, let me get the picture on over there. That is Eric Hosmer. I don't have him in a San Diego Padres uniform because I didn't see any pictures of him in a San Diego Padres uniform, other than the one where he's wearing the jersey above the shirt with a tie, and I was like, nah, that's not the one I want. I want an action photo of him. So yes, he no longer plays with the Kansas City Royals, even though this picture shows him as a Kansas City Royal. He is now a member of the San Diego Padres. Last year, he went 318, 25 homers, 94 RBI. That was his best offensive year. He's only 28 years old. I think that he's got still a long career ahead of him. 10 years, he'll be 38 years old, probably start winding down his career. But for the next 10 years, you can bet that he's going to be a really good ball player. San Diego Petco Park is a huge park, but in all actuality, the park that they play in Kansas City, Kauffman Stadium, is actually slightly bigger than Petco. So he may be able to have better offensive numbers over there in San Diego. Possibly. So that brings me then to number 2. The number 2 guy that I would start a franchise with at first base if I were a GM of an expansion team. And that is Anthony Rizzo of the Chicago Cubs. Last year was actually kind of a down year for him, believe it or not. But he still hit 273 with 32 home runs, 109 RBI. He is also 28 years old. He's just going to keep getting better as the years go on. Let me make sure that I'm still recording here because my phone is acting up. Okay. Yeah, no, we are okay. It's just my phone is being utterly stupid again. Anyways, so he is definitely going to be just a source of offense for the Cubs for the next several years. And if I were to start a major league franchise and I couldn't get my number 1 first baseman, he would definitely be my number 2. But that then brings me to our number 1 first baseman, who is the reigning National League Rookie of the Year, Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger last year hit 267, 39 home runs, 97 RBI. I have it written down as 997 RBI. Trust me, he didn't hit 997 RBI. But he is 22 years old. He is the reigning National League Rookie of the Year. I think he's only going to get better. He's 22 years old, which means in 10 years he'll only be 32. That'll be his prime. So if I could sign him to a 10-year deal as part of my expansion team and then try to get him to extend his contract for, say, another 8 years, I'm sure I'd only have about another 5 years with him, but he would be a lifelong. I called the expansion franchise the San Antonio Defenders the other night. He would be a lifelong San Antonio Defender. So I think that would be absolutely awesome to get Cody Bellinger. In fact, he might be my first overall draft pick, period, if I were starting a franchise. Of course, that would mean the Dodgers would have to be willing to put him on the eligible market, which I seriously doubt. But that would be the target that I would probably go after before everybody else, period. We'll see how he does this year. He really didn't have that great of a postseason, especially not in the World Series. But, again, he's a rookie, so he might end up being a lot better if the Dodgers make it back to the postseason. So he's a left-handed bat, which is very key because there's so many right-handed pitchers in Major League Baseball. So he's really got a chance to be one of the all-time greats. So that's why he would be my number 1 first baseman and probably number 1 overall. So do we have any questions on that, guys? Any questions at all? Erica, are you still here with us, or is it just well, I can't even tell now because my phone is freezing up on me. Let me pull out of this and then pull back in. Let's see. Wait. Nope, I'm not seeing anybody anymore. So, anyways, all right, guys. So, is there any questions, comments, complaints, concerns? I went ahead and put this one up on my personal page. I think that's what I'm going to start doing, is do 2 on my personal page a week and then the rest on the 4th and a Mile page. Go over to 4th and a Mile Sports, like 4th and a Mile Sports, so that you can get content every day, or you can go to YouTube and catch it over there as well. I will be putting this on YouTube here as soon as I'm done. So I'm trying to get viewers over there. So everybody in YouTube world, if you guys are seeing this, you'll be seeing it after the live show. I appreciate everyone giving me a chance. This is just like I said the other night. I'm a fan of sports, especially baseball and college football. I am not a pro analyst. I am not a sports reporter of any kind. I'm just a fan who likes to talk sports. So, with that in mind, if I get anything wrong about your favorite team or whatever, cut me a little bit of a break, guys. So, all right. So if there are no more questions, no more comments, no more concerns, no more complaints, go to bandcamp.com. Check out A Bloody Chasm. That is my friends Jocelyn Gonzalez, Matt Hutton, and the rest of the band A Bloody Chasm. They have their music up there on bandcamp.com. It's their demo album. They have 4 or 5 songs on there. They are all really cool songs if you're into metal, or as she called it the first time I put it on here, I think she called it spooky metal. If you guys are into that, go ahead and take a listen. They are a really kick-ass band. She is the guitarist / lead singer. Matt, the other friend of mine from the band, is also a guitarist for the band. So yeah, go ahead and like those guys, and go to their Facebook page to like them as well. You'll get the inside scoop on anything that they're doing as well. So, all right, guys, if there is nothing else, then I hope you guys have a great, what are we at, Thursday night? I love you all. Thanks for joining me. Besos.